everybody. I am Marina and I'm your host at UNBOSSED. UNBOSSED is a podcast I've created to highlight women with amazing paths of success here in Chicago. Last year, I set out to interview the only 40 female CTOs in the city, and this year I've expanded to female CEOs and women in politics and government in Chicago. I'm excited to share these interviews with you, and I hope you contact me at www.unbossed.io or email me at marina@unbossed.io. Hope to see you soon.
As the very first executive director of Illinois is the very first executive, Amor Montes leads a vibrant community of women interested in working in Illinois' nascent regulated cannabis industry. IWC champions women with diverse backgrounds, entrepreneurial spirits, and innovative ideas, and so does Amor. As the former director of strategic initiatives for 2112, Chicago's first incubator for creative industry, she focused on creating meaningful programming, raising capital, and developing advanced professional development initiatives. Within Illinois' burgeoning cannabis industry, Amor sees vast opportunity to use her experience in order to create more equitable economic opportunities, drive innovation, and encourage entrepreneurial initiatives. Welcome, Amor.
Hey everybody, this is Marina, your podcast host at UNBOSSED. Today with me I have a very special guest. Her name is Amor Montes. She's the executive director at Illinois Women in Cannabis. Welcome, Amor.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you for coming. I know, thank you for coming. I am looking forward to this conversation for a while. And we were just saying that it so happened that it's very serendipitous, even that next week is 420 and you work for Illinois Women in Cannabis.
It's a very special day. Yes, it's a day of celebration. And it is my first official 420, so I am full of excitement to join the community and talk about cannabis. And this is a great preview.
So first of all, how does one decide to become anything in cannabis? And I know it's like legal now, so we're going to talk about that in a different light. But like, did you have any hesitation to be like, oh wait, this is the title that I'm going to have?
Well, it was a title that I hoped to have, and it was an industry that I just fell in love with quickly, and I was very intentional and very attracted to it. But it was, just
how did that happen?
A lot of unknowns, a ton of unknowns.
How did that happen? That getting to know the industry and things like that.
Well,
because it's still a pretty new industry overall.
It's very new, which is what's so exciting, and I can't wait to get more into details with you about that. But the way that I began learning about the industry was through my work at 2112 and working with startups and entrepreneurs and working with them and figuring out areas of business. So we started getting members who were working in the CBD with CBD products. And that was kind of like a prompt, to start learning about the industry and how these businesses operate in that industry so that we can bring resources to those members that we were having. And the more I learned and the more I heard the founder stories, the more I began to fall in love with it and do my own research. And here I am, and I couldn't be happier.
That's awesome. I love the fact that you decided to take a role in this industry. You've talked to me about how lucrative this industry is going to be. It has been already, but it's going to be for minorities, Black and Hispanic specifically, and all the work that you're doing, including, trying to get women into the industry and get a share of the profit. You're smiling. So we have a special guest today. My baby is on screen. And I think Amor is getting distracted.
I can't help it. It makes me so happy.
Just a 9-week-old baby, so hopefully she'll be quiet for us. But so let's get something straight out of the way, Amor. And since like we're talking about cannabis, what is your personal? I'll share you my personal opinion about usage or consumption, but I would love to hear also yours. And I am definitely a recreational user. I've recently tried some from Michigan, and I really enjoyed that. Well, recently, like a year ago, because I've been also with the baby, so obviously that doesn't fly. But yeah, so like I'm definitely a recreational user. So what is your stand and your organization stand for towards consumption and that good stuff?
Yeah. Well, we are not promoting consumption. We are promoting education and opportunity in the industry.
Yeah.
Obviously, the plant has medicinal properties that we are just beginning to understand. There's a great, an enormous surfacing of research and inquiries in how this plant can be beneficial to some of the ailments that we've been battling with for years. Migraines, nausea, sleep, anxiety. There's a lot of promising studies and a lot of people looking into more and trying to accelerate the studies, because we're a little bit behind. As you mentioned, Illinois is now 1 year into recreational sales, and so as more states come online and more education and more of the industry across the nation, this education is obviously incredibly important. Yeah, one thing I want to say is we want to bring awareness to the industry, not just professionally, but just the industry as a whole. It's access to education, so that you can make your own choices, your own options into the care of your health.
I'm gonna say hi to the baby here. Hi, baby.
Hi, baby.
That's awesome. That is an awesome stand on where this goes, and at the same time, we know there's a lot of like very personal opinions right now because of the legalization of marijuana, what it means for decriminalization of specific, ethnicities. What do you guys play any part in that at all?
We are definitely. We are active in the conversations. We formed committees to be able to focus on different areas of the industry more deeply, more effectively, in a more focused way, while we have an overarching work scope as an organization. As you know, I'm new to the industry and the organization. I've been with Illinois Women in Cannabis just 6 months, and it's been the fastest learning ever. If I ever could recommend a crash course in any industry, take a job in it and learn by fire, pretty much. And it's a complex industry. There's a lot of history and culture and texture that, as we come to the industry, we should be aware. We should educate ourselves in the cultural nuance of the industry, in order for us to not, it's not obviously there's a financial attractiveness, allureness to it, but it's not just the money. It's not just money. There's just so much more that it goes hand in hand to be responsible.
Mm-hmm. Like
social equity, inclusion, diversity, having a look at some of the policies around the workplace, especially for people with criminal records, for
drug testing.
Yes, the drug testing in the workplace. There's just so much that is deeply. It's like it goes beyond just a policy. It goes deeply into the lives of people that affect their living on a daily basis. A simple possession of a joint 6-7 years ago could potentially still be on your record for you couldn't get a housing loan, a student loan. Maybe you don't pass a work application because of it. So it's not so simple, and I've never. I feel so ignorant. I wish I could have been more aware much sooner. This has been going on for years, and once again, I've been kind of learning on the job, which is the most immersive experience, the most in-depth. When I hear people's stories, when I attend discussions and I learn more about the industry, I feel there's so much work to be done. It's so much bigger. It's so much bigger than a job. It's so much more.
That's really cool. It's like having, a lucrative job with also a purpose, almost, which is great. I mean, as long as we keep the goalpost in mind, it definitely has major impact to many communities, especially marginalized ones. And you said something like interesting. I was gonna touch base on, which is this is part of what we do at Women in Cannabis, right? This is part of like your social equity component. What else does the organization do, and what is your role within that organization specifically, so that people can learn what what an executive director does?
I'm making it up as I go. I have the privilege of being the first executive director at Illinois Women in Cannabis.
Yes. Nice, congratulations.
Thank you very much. I am humbled by the opportunity. I hope that my experiences throughout my career, have really given me a lot of tools that I have all put to test right now. Community building, leveraging technology to bring about education and networking and opportunities, help people find each other. And, this job has really given me the opportunity to do it on, right now, like yesterday, especially through the pandemic. I came in August to help the organization adapt through the pandemic and operate digitally, reconnect with our community, with our members, and immediately rolled out a calendar of events so that we can connect and find, the points, the inquiries, what were on people's minds, what were the most immediate things that we could take action on, get us all organized, and get us positioned to be more proactive in 2021, which is where we are now.
Talk to us about maybe one or two of the major events that you have going on that people should know about.
Well, in the past 3 months, we were invited to speak at South by Southwest, which was a great opportunity, great experience. Yes, to promote the industry and what our state is doing on a world stage is an incredible opportunity for us.
That already happened in March, right?
March. We also hosted our spring conference, which was an attempt at a virtual version of our first inaugural last year in person. I believe, I sincerely know that if we would have been in person, we would have had standing ovations for our keynotes. The energy was felt even though we were remote.
Nice.
The value that our audience were able to walk away with insight, I think carried through despite the virtual format. So that it was super exciting. Now for the rest of the year, we're excited obviously about spring and summer. We're planning.
420?
Yes, 420, of course. We are planning our fall conference, fall harvest, as well as many. We host many monthly seminars, workshops, networking events. We have one coming up next week, our monthly networking event. I hope anyone interested in learning about the industry could join us.
Perfect. And where they can find this event on the website?
Yeah,
What
head
is
over
it?
to our website, ilwomenincannabis.org.
Perfect.
And we are on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and we have a link tree that you can find all our information.
Oh, nice. All right, so I have a question about maybe where do you see the industry going? And let's touch base on Illinois quick. So the first thing is federally, cannabis is still illegal.
100%. Well, not just federally. You know, it's almost, you can have a different status, state, county. It's complicated. It's very complicated, and then of course federally. So the industry has a lot of hurdles.
Yeah.
And I see an incredibly...
What's the progress getting done there, if any at all?
The licenses are still on hold from 2020 due to the pandemic, and then some processing and the scoring, some inconsistencies. There are several lawsuits still pending to try to have a more fair opportunity at these licenses, since they are so limited. There are not just the dispensary licenses, of course, there's craft, infusion, and transportation licenses. These applications are on hold, and these groups, these applicants, are pending and are on hold unconditionally, or with no real date in sight. And so that's challenging. We are doing everything we can, not just us, but many organizations are focused on being proactive on what we can do while we're waiting for these notices, for these results, for any information to continue to move forward, and preparing new potential licensee holders based on all of this experience, be even better prepared for the next round of licenses. It's been a punch in the heart, a roller coaster, and anything dramatic that you can think of, because you can imagine, the opportunity in front, and then to have just unknowns in that process. It's very stressful.
Yeah.
To say the least. Hopes and dreams come and crash.
Yeah. There's definitely also a change in state administration that is happening right now. Do you guys have any information about whether this is going to affect the licensing or anything like that?
We know as much as everybody.
Okay.
We don't really have a direct line into privileged information of any sort. We know as much as everybody else. And we'll get there. We'll see what we can do, but we are excited about some of the discussions, some of the transparency, some of the even if it's small progress, at least there's discussion. Danielle Perry spoke at our conference last week, and she's putting together a report that we cannot wait to dive into the details more, so that we can see where we are, what we have, and where we need to go, how we move some of these numbers forward a little bit.
Who's Danielle Perry, and what report is he putting together?
Danielle Perry she is the cannabis czar. She is she has a very, I'll have to find her official title, but she's an important...
she's the marijuana czar, yep.
Did you find her? Great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
And
so
she's putting together a report to what?
She's putting a study of what has happened over the past year, impact.
Mm-hmm.
So we are anticipating a lot more insight on what's happened, a lot more data with where we are with the industry and what needs to move.
Like, do you have any ideas of when this report is coming out for our audience? If
I do not. She mentioned
okay.
in our conference that she was working on it, so we are anticipating a report in the next few weeks.
Perfect.
Can't wait to get into it.
That's awesome. All right. Let's move a little bit back. We've talked a little. We'll come back to talk about the industry, obviously, and all that stuff. But for a professional standpoint, Amor, do you want to tell us your story and, like, more personally, like, where are you from? I know, like, we talked about being Latinas, and I definitely want to share that. And then, why are you doing this? What is the purpose of all of this for you?
Such a big question. I'll start with introducing myself.
Yes.
The easy stuff. I am Latina. I'm from Mexico. I immigrated to Chicago as a teen. I went to school here, DePaul University. I attended Lakeview High School. I went to summer school at Lane Tech. And I kind of grew up here. As an immigrant teen, I just kind of had to figure things out quickly. I learned English here. Marijuana was not in my life. As an immigrant family, you just kind of want to stay away from anything that could potentially impact your immigration process.
Are you comfortable with sharing what was your immigration status? Do you come on DACA?
I am, I was naturalized as my family relocated here. And so that's kind of how I understand it. And then I started school and trying to learn English and trying to adapt to a completely new lifestyle, new culture, new language, new everything, right?
Yeah.
On the fly.
Yeah.
And then made my way to school, made my way through school, college. I took a little bit longer to get out of college, but I realized that was important. I went to school and worked as, just to kind of.
I did too, yeah.
What you gotta do.
We gotta do it.
Yeah, it's kind of like work from 9 to 5 and then go to school from 6 to 9 and then all the kind of things.
I used to work Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays and go to school. I would pack up my classes between Tuesdays and Thursdays. That was my plan.
There's a lot of, yes, but you know what I mean. Yeah. So through that, I made my way through jobs that, kind of got me into the corporate world eventually.
Mm-hmm.
I did work at, started as a receptionist, blah, 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 all of that, and picked up little things in there, trying to figure out, like, how to climb the corporate world, and it wasn't easy. I the one thing that I know I've shared with you in the past is mentorship. I didn't know how the corporate world worked. Where could I have found that out? Or, how to leverage your schooling to land that internship that could have been so much helpful for me. Or an advisor, things like that. Things that you don't really it's the shared knowledge of experience that helps us kind of have some guardrails as we grow, right? Especially professionally. I remember, one of my, jobs that I had, I went into, somehow in conversation came up that my colleague made more money than I did. I'm like, why? We do exactly the same thing. Same hours, same job, same monotony, same everything. Like, why? And it daunted me. And so, I went and asked, and I don't even remember if the answer was anything, but I was just like, what if I had not asked? I don't even know if I got the money or not, but that kind of stuck with me, of like, I gotta be, even though I do my work, even though I bring more, to kind of prove myself, because I kind of felt a little insecure. I had an accent. I don't have your traditional employee background, so you kind of tend to
Overcompensate a little bit.
Overcompensate. So I thought that my work would speak for itself, you know, of something, but it takes more than that. You have to kind of say it, and you have to kind of know how to even manage that conversation, because to be honest, I don't even remember if I got the money or not. But you know, throughout, I just kept going and kind of keeping an eye on those things, all sorts of challenges.
Yes, as a woman, as a immigrant, as a Latina.
Yeah, it's just, you know, my story is definitely not unique in any way, and it's I think what I learned most about this is, you know, the ability to adapt, constantly adapt, and constantly, like, you know, assess the situation and make lemonade out of whatever it is that you have going on. And I have been fortunate to have such diverse professional career that I've met such great people, interesting people, not so great, you know, all kinds of people doing different things that kind of gave me a wider sense of the city and the things that are within it, and the things that I enjoy, and the things that I, you know, could. Awesome. Yeah, so that's been super helpful.
You know, like in all those struggles, still, like, there's so much learning that you did that I'm sure have served you so well this year, especially.
I hope so. You know, this year was definitely, 2020 was definitely, took every bit of everything that
creative juices to make it work.
Bit of it, yes, and it was challenging. You know, some days were better than others, but our resiliency, I think, is in our DNA.
Nice.
Somehow.
Did you guys speak Spanish at home, or did you speak English?
We spoke Spanish. We, as we became more involved in the community and part of the community, then, you know, we switched to English, and then Spanglish, and then Spanish. You know, a little bit of both. You know, it's trying to. It's kind of interesting to try to remain, you know, such root cultural things, but that also change when you're here.
Integrate while remaining.
Yeah, and they evolve into a hybrid of things, but then there's some things that don't, and some things that become new, and some things that get mixed. It's really interesting, you know, the balance of what are we, and, you know, I am all of them.
Yeah,
I am
that's awesome.
Just as Mexican as I was before I got here, and proud of it, and I carry my culture everywhere. You know, it's who I am.
That's amazing. That's really good. You did mention through your careers you had a specific affinity for mentorship. Do you remember, like, the best and worst advice from mentors that you've ever gotten?
I've never really had a formal mentor. I've had, you know, people around me that I ask guidance because I kind of figure it out, and then I never really had a formal mentor. I joke with my mentees now that if I had, I would be a millionaire, and I believe that wholeheartedly, because
there's time. You can get there.
Yes, we will get there. Mentors, you know, are critical sometimes. You know, even if it's just a discussion, even if it's just to bring about a different perspective when you're trying to source something out. You can Google everything, but you can't really read through the experience. You know, can be so valuable. And also the support is probably the most valuable.
Well, what is maybe a lesson that you like to then tell your mentees that you find near and dear to you, to your heart?
I love to remind them that I learn as much from them as they are learning from me. And I love for them to consider themselves also mentors. You know, their experience and their perspective is just as refreshing to me and insightful and everything, you know. So we all can be mentors to somebody. So that's probably it. I love, when I see the cycle of a mentee becoming a mentor, and that's just kind of cool. I love that.
That's awesome. That's really nice. Any experiences that you've had as a mentor that were especially impactful to you?
Yes. Last year, famous last year, I read on Facebook a post about a recent grad. She super accomplished PhD medical student in a little village, and she was talking about similar feelings that I felt when I was going through school or sorting out or figuring out how to go to school, of feeling of not belonging, or is this for me? And being first generation to graduate from college, and even more at the degree that she went. And I found it heartbreaking to know that at 2020 we're still dealing with the same feelings of not having guidance or a mentor or a role model to guide us through this other not just living in our community, but beyond our professional advancement. We've gotten to college, but what about beyond that? We need mentors to help us get not just to college, but advance all the way to the top. And I feel like there's still a gap there. So when I read that, and how I felt, I sympathized with those feelings. I'm like, no, this cannot continue to happen. Where are the mentors? Why was she at 2020 in I forget, a very prestigious school that she attended, and she didn't have a mentor? We need to be a lot more active. I know, and we say mentor and mentor and mentor. We say it all the time, but it's still super important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It shouldn't. Yeah, I guess I'm passionate about it.
No,
You and I met with the job losses last year. Now we need mentors more than ever, because you have career changers, you have pivots, you have a new career startups, that we've kind of had to well, that's not going to work. Let's find a new path. So now we need mentors more than ever.
Yeah, and I think something that I forgot probably, we met through Get Cities, and we're both mentors at the program. And one thing that I did not realize is that there's still plenty of first generation graduates from immigrant families in America, which happens to be my mentee, that do not have their parents to rely on to pay for school, to pay college admission to a very prestigious school for, or to give them the guidance that they need in order to know how to negotiate for an offer, or know how to interview, or know how to simply even dress for an office job, because they never had those type of jobs. And so there's so much that can be done in the communities just by being, doing the normal thing that you do every day.
Yep.
That could be super useful to young kids that come from this type of families.
100%. More than ever, I think.
And we do need our younger generations right now more than ever. And you were talking to me about the opportunities in of diversity in the cannabis industry. So since this seems like a natural progression, what's going on there? What are the equity programs that you're putting in place or trying to attract people towards?
We relaunched our committees, and our professional development and a committee is working on a mentorship program that we hope to launch this summer.
Nice.
Yes, and that's super exciting. We launched our internship program as well to try to help people connect
So
We
you're like
are.
a matchmaking for internships?
Yes, I'm trying to find every creative way to help people find each other and get insight into an industry. Remember, it's highly regulated, so the opportunities are very few. But there's abundance and opportunity for non-plant touching. So trying to help narrow, in the, not narrow, expand. To see the perspective, the view. Like there's so much more. So for diversity and inclusion, obviously, all of our committees are working on advocating, bringing awareness, reaching out to communities. We're doing a ton of education. We have a pretty comprehensive calendar of events to bring about speakers from diverse backgrounds and areas in the industry to talk about the gaps and opportunities throughout. And we, one of our focus is to provide the tools and the know-how to get those things. So the more that we know about the gaps in knowledge, the more that we can tap into the expertise of the network to bring about these opportunities.
Got it. So specifically, let's say I am a young person graduating from college, and maybe let's take a couple of examples. One person that has no experience and a person that has experience in a different industry and would like to enter the industry. Where do they go? How do they do it?
Well, let's start with both. We start with us. I want IWC to be a hub. We have a welcoming community. There's a lot of new people coming in, so we're kind of all in the same. I'm 6 months into the industry only. We like to facilitate networking, right? So we have members in our community who are HR experts. We have MSOs who are also members in our community. So the best way to learn about these opportunities is by talking to people in the industry, even if they don't have a lot of experience, even if they're also navigating or exploring opportunities, because that like-mindedness is going to help you. The way that we are coming about is, the networking. You have to bring a little bit of value. So if this opportunity is not right for you, it could be right for somebody else. But the more that you know about what's out there and what people are looking, the more connecting that you can do for people. And so it could be a little bit more dynamic, I guess.
Nice. That's really good.
You know what? The other thing, we have a lot of workshops on resume writing. We have placement agencies that do Q&As for us constantly about how to tailor your resume, how to follow up, how to talk about not having industry experience, for example. We have seminars on expungement records, so that if how to clear your record so that you can explore opportunities, or how to navigate through those hurdles. So those again, go to our calendar, to get started.
Nice to get the event, and the calendar is on the website, correct?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right, what do you want to talk about next?
Well,
you recently met with Ram Emanuel. Is that a thing?
Oh no, not recently. I some of the stuff that I guess, we kind of touched a little bit, some of the skills, some of the experiences that we've gone through over the past famous 2020, I'm not a fan of public speaking. That's not something I learned, in school. I was pretty insecure. I still am. So, COVID has pushed, once again, that either do it or sink, So when I took that post about Ram Emanuel, I was he came to the first anniversary of 2112, and I gave the welcoming speech, which was very terrifying, to be honest with you. I had every nerve on, I think, and it was the push I needed that helped me kind of know what I was doing this past year. At least I had a little bit of like, that stink had already gone because I had gone through that. And, once again, where the experience kind of informed and helped me grow in a place that I didn't want to grow. But if I had not taken that step, I don't know that I could have gotten this job, to be honest.
That's amazing. Did you freeze at any point?
Yes.
You did. What happened?
Oh, it was right at the beginning, of course. So there I am, and I had my speech, and I see all this sea of people and cameras and all of that, and suddenly my vision just kind of blurred and got dark, and I was just like, so I just kind of like, calm down. I still have 2 pages to go. I just realized that I was not even started. So I don't know what happened. I just kind of took a breath and my vision came back. I found my place in line and kind of kept going and tried to remember that I was excited that day, it was a very happy, proud moment. So I tried to bring that emotion through what I was saying, and that was it. I couldn't wait to get off that stage.
That's really good. Speaking of things that we do that scare us, do you do anything else that have you done recently? Anything else? Have you picked up any habits or things like that?
Goodness, almost everything is nerve-wracking now. But for example, we hosted our conference in spring, and I was manning the dashboard. I cannot tell you how something so simple that I do on a daily basis was so hard. Because we put that pressure on ourselves. We don't want anything to go wrong, and I'm getting better at it. I'm working on not overthinking things.
That's awesome. I think there's definitely, and I'm super biased, but I'm still gonna say that there's definitely some type of willingness to do and resilience in people that I've met that are immigrants. Just the fact that you can move cross countries, learn a new language, and integrate in a new part of your community is mind blowing for some people that have never left the U.S. And so I just find that people that do this type of movements with their life, and I've done it myself, is they can take some pretty good chances and pretty good risks, and just face it, and it's gonna go however it's gonna go. Be as prepared as you're gonna be, and move on.
Yeah, and with that same thing, that I failed a ton. I've lost a ton of money. I took some risks that I'm like, in hindsight, I'm like, I can't believe I did that. Because as you kind of I'll figure it out. I took this job even. I've never really been a formal executive director or anything like that, and this is a complicated, but I trusted that I could figure it out. I trusted that I had enough gut that I could figure out the rest. So I think that's part of all the risks and all the failures that I've taken is okay, I think I can figure this out, and sometimes I don't, and sometimes I do, but it still doesn't work out, and I guess, what are we gonna do?
Do you have some mentors helping you out at the moment?
I am so happy. I have a board of directors that I see as mentors. Yes. Maybe they don't know that, but they are inspiring. They're smart, determined, and caring. And I don't know. I'm lucky. La suertuda.
La suertuda. That's amazing. Any shows you've been watching on Netflix or streaming?
I have been so madly in love with the new movies, new animated movies. Oh, really? I find the colors and the art, it's like moving art to me. I'm a big I love art. It nourishes my soul so much. So for me to see these kind of things, I've been in heaven. So I saw Pachamama. It was a Netflix gem, hidden gem.
I haven't watched it. I need to watch it for sure.
It's an hour-long animation about Peru, and it's just so beautiful, so beautiful.
So I wanted to mention that recently I've been to watch the Jenny Rivera series.
The what series?
Jenny Rivera.
Oh, okay.
And I wanted to mention because she's a really famous Mexican singer from the West Coast. And the series runs like a telenovela, is in Spanglish, but mostly Spanish. And I love it. It was so good. Her life story was so amazing. Yeah. Have you seen it yet? Do you like telenovelas?
I have not. I have not seen that. I don't watch a whole lot of television. I have screen fatigue, for real. I have screen fatigue. Like I can do like 1 hour little movie a week, and that's all I can do.
Wow, that's amazing. No, I've been on maternity leave, so I've been like taking time to watch TV shows.
It's nice. I love some stuff. I can't wait for some new series.
All right, so we are almost at time, unfortunately, because talking to you is always so much fun.
Same.
And
Same.
We have our choice question. You ready for them?
Let's go. Always ready.
What is a book you have gifted the most, or podcast you have suggested, or any research?
I was gifted
The Alchemist.
Yes. And I have bought it for almost every intern that I've ever had.
Nice.
And I'm going to continue to do that.
In
English
book.
and Spanish, yes. I bought a bunch of English versions, but I have also gifted this one a lot.
The House on Mango Street?
Because it was such a... This book to me, when I came to the U.S., this was my rock. This made the world make sense to me. And I was recently, she was recently awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award, and I could not have been more happy to have shared that moment with her. And at that moment, somebody asked her what her favorite book was, and her response was... Being Peace.
Peace. I haven't read that one.
So I had not. I ordered it immediately, and I've been reading it. And I think this is going to be my new gift.
Nice.
To people. I felt so inspired. I'm like, could I get a box and just kind of leave them out everywhere, and whoever needs one, grab one, kind of thing? Because it's a lot. It's brought a lot of healing. And a lot of quiet that I needed.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to read it. I haven't gotten to that one yet. But what is a book you would write?
Oh, I'm not a writer, but I want to be. I want to be talented that too. I think a title that I came up with, because it seems perfect, is Nosotras las Putas. And I think it would just be some sort of telenovela rant. I don't know. I need someone like Tania Saracho or someone to make it great. I don't know.
I love the title Nosotras las Putas. It's beautiful. I'm not even going to translate. I'm going to let my audience figure that one out.
I think it's an easy one.
That's amazing. I love it. And what is it going to be? What is it going to be about?
I think it's going to be about a coming of age for women. How and our battle scars of becoming women, and it kind of personally, kind of like, the whole transformation of being, I don't know, finding myself and then the what do you call that? The super mom thing that I was trying to do, and the liberation that I was doing, and then the I don't know what I was doing, like all of these things, but then all the scars that I picked up on the way, and then I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I think
I feel I will read it. I will be your first thing. I may even contribute to the content.
I think there's a lot to contribute, right? And then at the end, it's about like, we're encouraged, we're do this, do that, but then I don't know, one small mind, can, I don't know, that's why I'm calling it nosotras las putas. Like, yeah, I'm going to take that courage, and I'm going to take that insult and make it
mine and do whatever I want.
Yeah. With my scars and everything,
Perfect.
just. Mm-hmm.
Amazing. That's beautiful. What does it mean for you to be embossed?
I thought about that. I was wondering why you called it Unbossed myself. And I think personally, it's kind
of like nosotras las putas.
Yeah, it's a mind thing. For me, it's kind of like, it's not having a boss. It is more about having the mindset, that you can create your own opportunities. Yes. You can be a maker. You don't have to be the consumer. You don't have to be waiting to consume. You can be the maker. You can create the thing. You can create your own opportunity. You can make your own thing. Even at work, it's all you. You're the one that has that jazz.
I love it.
That's Unbossed. Don't wait.
Don't wait.
Being Unbossed is having self-initiative, self-motivation, self-drive. Not this, but it's a mind thing, because you can make your job, even if it's task related, and make it something else that will take you somewhere else.
I may have to steal that. That's said beautifully. Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much for
out the best in me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for being amazing, for continuing to do the hard work, which is staying in the hard work. And I hope I'll talk to you soon again.
I cannot wait. Thank you so much for having me. I could be more grateful for this. Thank you so much. Ciao.